The desert had a way of swallowing sound, swallowing memory, swallowing hope. In a place where the wind carved stories into endless waves of sand, a single clay house stood like a forgotten heartbeat in the middle of the silent dunes. It was small, cracked by time, stitched together with mud and patience, and guarded by loneliness. Inside that fragile shelter lived an old man named Henry, nearly 100 years old, carrying more years in his bones than the desert carried grains of sand. Each night he slept with the silence pressing against his chest like a heavy blanket, and each morning he woke unsure whether the sun would still remember him. On one such night, the darkness felt unusually thick, as if the world itself had paused to listen. Henry slept deeply, his breath slow and uneven, his dreams wandering through distant memories of laughter and warm hands that no longer existed. Then, like a stone dropped into still water, a sound broke the silence, soft at first, almost unsure of itself. Then again, louder, sharper, demanding to be noticed. Henry's eyes snapped open. His heart thumped in his fragile chest. No one ever came here. No traveler, no child, no wandering soul dared to cross this endless desert after nightfall. With trembling legs, he rose from his bed and shuffled toward the door, every step echoing like a warning inside his mind. When he pulled the door open, the desert moon revealed a young woman standing before him. Her face was pale from exhaustion, her eyes wide with both fear and hope, and her beauty seemed almost unreal against the harsh emptiness of the dunes. Her name was Emma, though Henry did not know it yet. In that first moment, something stirred deep inside him, something he had long believed had died with his youth. It was not just attraction, but a strange pull, like the desert itself was whispering secrets through her presence. Emma explained that she had lost her way while traveling toward Amber City, and begged for shelter for the night. Henry felt dizzy as he listened, his mind clouded, his heart racing in a way it had not in decades. He allowed her inside, offered her a small corner to sleep, and watched quietly as she rested. Yet as the night deepened, unease began to crawl into the air. Henry lingered near her, his thoughts tangled and confused, his actions hovering dangerously close to crossing lines he barely understood himself. Emma sensed it. Fear tightened in her chest like a knot, and sleep became shallow and broken. Morning brought light, but not peace. Emma thanked him and prepared to leave, but Henry stopped her, insisting it was too dangerous to travel alone, and promising that help would come soon. His words sounded gentle, yet his eyes carried shadows. Torn between caution and necessity, Emma stayed. Another night passed, heavier than the first. The desert outside howled faintly with wind, and inside the house, tension thickened like smoke. Henry's restlessness grew, his inner battle becoming more intense. Emma remained alert, her instincts warning her that something was not right. Days blurred into a quiet struggle of patience and fear. Henry spoke of caravans that never arrived, of delays that stretched hope thin. Emma's trust weakened with every excuse. She felt watched, studied, and trapped in a place that had once seemed like salvation. Her heart urged her to run, yet the desert beyond the door felt like another kind of danger. Each night carried whispers of uncertainty, and each morning carried disappointment. Finally, when Emma could no longer bear the waiting, she confronted Henry and demanded to leave. The air between them snapped like a stretched rope. Henry blocked her path, his voice calm but heavy with hidden meaning. He spoke of answers, of truths connected to the reason Emma had come to Amber City in the first place. His words pierced her confusion. How could this old man possibly know what she was searching for? She had been traveling for months, chasing rumors, clinging to fading hope that her missing husband was still alive. No one knew her story here. And yet, Henry spoke as if he held pieces of her heart in his trembling hands. Fear wrestled with curiosity. Every instinct told Emma to escape, but another part of her, exhausted from endless searching, longed for clarity. After a long, painful pause, she agreed to stay one final night, demanding that this would be the end of it. Henry's face softened with a strange mix of relief and anticipation, as if a long wait was finally reaching its final chapter. That night stretched endlessly. Emma lay awake, counting every breath, listening to the subtle movements of the old house, feeling the desert's cold press through the thin walls. Henry remained still on his bed, his eyes open in the darkness, his thoughts racing through memories and guilt, hope and fear. Something deep within him knew that the truth could no longer be delayed. The desert itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for dawn. When morning finally arrived, pale light spilled into the room like forgiveness. Emma rose quietly, determined to leave without another word. As she stepped outside, something stopped her. A young man sat near the house, his posture calm, his presence gentle and familiar in a way that sent a sudden tremor through her heart. She approached slowly, disbelief tightening her chest. When the man turned, recognition struck like lightning. Her breath caught, tears surged, and the world around her dissolved into one overwhelming truth. It was Daniel, her husband, alive, right in front of her. Emotion crashed over her in waves too strong to control. Years of searching, nights of silent crying, endless roads and unanswered prayers, all of it melted into a single moment of reunion. She clung to him, trembling with joy, disbelief, and gratitude. Daniel held her tightly, his touch steady and warm, grounding her in reality. The desert, once so cruel and empty, suddenly felt sacred, like a place where miracles dared to breathe. But confusion quickly followed happiness. How was he here? Why had he been near Henry's house? And where was Henry now? Emma searched the hut, calling out. But the old man had vanished as completely as a fading dream. The house stood empty, silent once more, as if it had never held another soul. Daniel's expression grew serious, layered with emotions Emma could not yet understand. He asked her to sit with him and listen. What he shared next unfolded like a tale from another world. Years ago, while traveling, he had mocked a mysterious pair he encountered, an old man and a young woman whose presence carried an unseen power. His careless words had awakened consequences beyond his imagination. The woman, gifted with hidden forces, transformed him into the form of an old man as punishment, condemning him to live in that body until a specific condition was fulfilled. Only when his wife came searching for him, and stayed beside him without knowing who he truly was, would the curse break. He had been forbidden from revealing his identity, forced to endure loneliness, guilt, and temptation while waiting for fate to complete its circle. Henry had been Daniel. Every restless night, every conflicted glance, every strange hesitation was the struggle of a man trapped in a body that did not match his soul. He had fought his darker impulses, failed in moments, and battled the weight of isolation. Yet Emma's presence had slowly awakened the part of him that remembered love, respect, and responsibility. Her purity of intention, her courage, and her patience shattered the final lock of the curse. Emma listened in stunned silence, tears sliding down her cheeks. Her fear transformed into understanding, her anger into compassion. She realized how fragile humans become when stripped of identity, connection, and hope. Daniel apologized for every moment that had frightened her, every silence that had confused her. She forgave him without hesitation, recognizing the painful journey he had endured. Together they left the silent dunes, not as lost travelers, but as souls reborn through hardship. Their bond was no longer built only on memory, but on resilience, forgiveness, and renewed trust. The desert that once threatened to swallow them had instead revealed the depth of their love and the strength of their character. Life did not become perfect overnight. Healing took time. Scars remained. But every sunrise reminded them that even the harshest landscapes can hide redemption. And even the longest night eventually meets the morning. Daniel learned humility and gratitude. Emma learned patience and inner strength. Together, they learned that love is not tested when everything is easy, but when fear, doubt, and temptation try to tear it apart. Their story carried a lesson deeper than sand and wider than the desert sky. True love is not defined by appearance, age, or circumstance. It is defined by intention, loyalty, and the courage to stay kind even when the world feels cruel. When hearts remain pure, even curses break. Even impossible journeys find their way home. And as this story settles in your heart, remember that your own challenges, your silent deserts, and your sleepless nights are shaping you into someone stronger than you realize. Never lose faith in the goodness within you. Never stop believing that truth finds its way back to light. And never underestimate the power of patience and love. If this story touched your heart, inspired your spirit, or gave you hope, support the journey by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Your small action helps more stories like this reach hearts that need them. Let kindness guide you forward, and may your own path always lead you home.